Okay guys, this channel really wasn't ever intended to be a gun review channel. It's about the family shooting together, what we enjoy to do, cowboy action shooting, but I do bring firearms out and kind of show them off and give an opinion. I have a Smith & Wesson Shield 9. I also have a Smith & Wesson Shield 40 in the 40 Smith & Wesson. And I've shown both of these on the channel. The 9 is my concealed carry. The 40 I got because it makes a good firearm for self-defense in the home or in the car. Nice, it's small and compact. And I had a couple of people ask me to do a direct comparison between the two, so I thought I would take a moment to do that. It is true that the Smith & Wesson 9 and the Smith & Wesson 40, both the Shield models, are identical so far as their physical form. And to kind of prove that case, lying here on the table, you can't tell which is which really unless you look closely. The 40 is imperceivably lighter than the 9. I can't tell a difference picking them up, and the reason for that is of course there's more board out of the barrel for the 40. But this is the 9 and this is the 40, and they were each in a holster. What we'll do is we'll swap them here, and you'll notice that they both fit in the holsters. They're identical. So if you're looking for options, if you want to carry both firearms, it's a good option to have both of these because you've got a little bit lighter recoil. Not that the 40's bad. 9mm, you do get one more round with it. The 9 is 7 in the magazine for the short magazine plus 1, while the 40 is 6 in the magazine plus 1. And those are the short magazines without the pinky grips. Of course, if you use the one with the pinky grip, in both cases, you get one extra round in the magazine. And if you had an idea where, for whatever reason, you wanted to carry one or the other, it makes a good choice because if this is your holster, you know that either firearm will fit. You're comfortable with the holster and how it works, and you just swap. If you have a inside the waistband Kydex, I do have one of these. Occasionally I'll use it. It's not my preferred inside the waistband, but it does a decent job. Both firearms fit inside of it without any trouble, identically. So physically you can't really tell you're carrying a different firearm. Now, this has actually become my preferred inside the waistband holster. It's very simple. It's a kind of a split leather, very thin, very aggressive clip, and the gun just forms to it. And this is kind of what I've started using. I actually started by using one of these. I went to this, several other types, and when I'm carrying inside the waistband, I've just come to prefer this. It's just so comfortable, and you don't notice it at all. And it fits in, it's easy to adjust. It's easy if you grab it to remove the entire firearm in the holster, where this one's a little bit more difficult. If you're getting ready to go in, you can take the entire firearm out or put it in. And reholstering is also a consideration. This is a little bit more difficult to take out, and I know everyone has their preferences, but I never reholster with the holster inside the waistband. I always pull the holster out, reholster, and then fit the entire gun so that everything is covered inside the waistband at the same time and snap it in place. And this is a little bit more difficult to do that. Now, outside the waistband, I do prefer paddle holsters. This is a good one here, and I prefer the clip on it, or the Serpa type holster where you grip. And if you practice with this and get proficient at it, of course, never fall out. And when you go to draw, you simply put your finger down where it should be and pull right out. You have no trouble with it. But these two are exactly identical. It's just the chambering that's different. And from experience, I'll say the handling on them is very similar. The 40 is a little bit hotter. It does have a little bit more snap to it, especially depending on the ammo that you're running. And I also get criticized in some of these videos by not telling people what ammo we're running. And again, never really intended to be a gun review channel. I think there's a lot of those out there, people more knowledgeable than myself who have the background that is more gun related than myself, that can do good reviews. But certainly if you want to know my opinion, I can give it to you. I can explain my reasoning and my choices. But this is the ammo here. This is Winchester white box 115 grain 9mm. It's what I practice with, and I carry 115 grain hollow point made by Hornady, and that's one reason that I choose to practice with 115 grain, is that it is very similar feel, very similar recoil between them, so practice here translates directly to the other carry ammo. Now this is a 40 Smith & Wesson. This is actually from Freedom Munitions. I believe this is 165 grain. Let me double check that, make sure. Yes, 165 grain, 40 Smith & Wesson. And this is UMC by Remington. This is leadless. I didn't originally intend to get leadless. Back when the ammo shortage was going on, this is what they had. The price was good, so it's what I bought. But it's 180 grain leadless, and that's what I'll be shooting in these today. I'll run both of these just to kind of feel the comparison, and the 115 grain white box Winchester for the 9. So if you're looking at compact 9mm, of course you know that the Ruger LC9 is also an option. This is it. I would say this is the original LC9, not an LC9S. They do have an LC9S that's striker fired now, which is a better comparison. This is hammer fired. But physically, if you compare them, they're very similar in size. It's the LC9 just has more curves and cuts to it. And honestly though, I prefer the Smith & Wesson 9 Shield, and the reason for that, part of the reason for it, is just the sights. If you compare the sights between those two, I have an easier time with them, and I found that it's easier to be accurate with the Smith & Wesson Shield than it is the standard LC9. Now I haven't fired an LC9S, that may change that, but just as a comparison. If you are looking for this form factor with more punch, then of course the 40 caliber Smith & Wesson Shield will do the job. And again, this is another carry holster, and you can see the LC9 fits in here fairly well. If I take it and put it into what I've been carrying the Shield in, it's pretty much the same fit. It doesn't get lost or get buried in it. The LC9 has formed this holster. You put that in there, these are basically the same holster. They are the same holster. It's just the gun that's been fitted into it and formed to it over time. This one is the LC9, has been formed to it and fitted. So, or this one is actually. And you can tell it's kind of taken on that shape. So, let's see if I can shoot these. Start off with the 9 here. Smith & Wesson Shield 9. Now, one thing that I do like about both of these is that the slide can be racked while the safety's on. It does have a thumb safety. So you can load the firearm with the safety in the on position, or you can clear the firearm with the safety in the on position. If you drop the magazine and need to clear the round, you don't have to release the safety to do that. With the LC9, of course, the safety is actually a slide lock as well. And part of the issue with that for reholstering, if you have a tight inside the waistband holster, again, I don't holster when it's in the waistband, but if you do, that might be a consideration if you want a safety. When it locks the slide, it's easier to push this in and the slide will not actuate. With the 9, even with it locked, with the shield, as you put it in, the slide will tend to slide back and won't actuate if you're trying to get a tight fit on it. But let's go here. I find the 9 very easy to place with, the Shield 9. Very comfortable. Again, recoil is subjective. You can definitely feel you're getting a little recoil here. It's by no means bad. If you fit the gun in tightly in your hand and grip it properly. It's very controllable, very easy to hit the target. Another reason I shoot this one, I find it more enjoyable to shoot than the LC9. I like the balance, the grip on it better, and I just enjoy firing the 9 Shield. I enjoy shooting it. So if I'm going to have something that I'm going to carry, being able to enjoy shooting it on the range while practicing is just a bonus. So now we have the 40 Smith & Wesson here. We've got the 165 grain Freedom munitions. Again, very controllable. Does it have more recoil? Yes, it has more recoil. It is 40 Smith & Wesson, but it's not that noticeable. It's certainly not uncontrollable. It is enjoyable to shoot this firearm too. I have a tough time deciding between which one to carry. I still carry the 9. It's what I've practiced the most with, put the most rounds through. But I certainly would not hesitate to carry the 40. It's just a good firearm. Now let's load up this UMC leadless. Basically it just means that it is lead-free ammunition here. Let me grab the loader, save my thumb. These are 180 grain. They're a little bit hotter rounds than the Freedom munitions, so they should have a little bit more punch to them. Shouldn't be much. A little bit more, not much. A little stouter. No sting. Very easy to control. Smells definitely different. For whatever reason, just the powder that they use in it, this has kind of a stronger smell to it than the Freedom munitions. May just be hotter powder. But that's basically it. I would carry either one of them. If you're trying to decide between the two of them, the best thing I can advise you to do would be to fire both of them. Find a range that'll rent them to you, or find someone that has one of each or both. Take them out, shoot them, see how you like the feel of them, and put a lot of rounds through them and figure out which one you're going to enjoy shooting the most, or which one you're the most accurate with. From my perspective, it would be difficult for me to give you a reason you would be more accurate with one over the other. Both of them are well balanced, both of them have good recoil control, and neither one feels overly aggressive when firing them. So I would tell you either one would be a good choice once you practiced with it to use as a concealed carry, or to just use on the range for enjoyment of shooting. Be entirely up to you. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have questions, feel free to post them. We can't always answer all the questions that show up in the videos. just by the way the comments and stuff work on YouTube, they're not obvious sometimes when comments come in, especially if they're questions. We get a lot of them, trying to dig through them. But you can always send us a private message, and if it's something we can do or a question that we can answer, we'll certainly try to. But just wanted to bring that to you for those that had asked for a direct comparison between the two. That's it. There's just not a lot of difference between these two firearms except the chambering. They're both very comfortable, very, very good shooting firearms.